Hello and welcome to Out of Spec Reviews. As we do with every car that gets dropped off for review, you know, this happens once or twice a week, we have the new Mercedes E450. This is a facelifted model, but honestly, there's so many changes it may as well just be a brand new model. Come with me. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the settings, options, technology. It's going to be a long video, but it's truly impressive what this Mercedes has to offer. Truly incredible driver assistance, amazing comfort, hot stone massaging seats. I mean, the list goes on and on. We're going to talk about all of that. Come around the back so you can see what it looks like. And so what we'll do is we're going to get everything set up, and then you're going to join me for the first drive. I haven't driven the car yet. We're going to take it out and see what it's like for the first time. You can see this one is the E450. That means it's the new inline 6 motor. Yes, Mercedes is back to straight 6s. And it's also a 4MATIC, which means it's all-wheel drive. We're here in Colorado. Mercedes wouldn't give us a rear-wheel drive car in the middle of winter here in Colorado. Man, I'm pretty pumped about this. It's also the EQ Boost mild hybrid. So there's a little pancake electric motor on the backside of the engine that provides like 100 and maybe 200 pound-feet of torque. We'll have to look up all the specs in the car. I heard it's pretty incredible. Pretty excited to see what this thing can do. Let's go spend some time. It's going to be a long video, but there's so much to go over about this car. We're inside the E-Class, and oh my goodness. First off, you know, I do have to clarify this. Just a couple months ago, I was in Europe. Was it a couple months ago? Yeah, it was almost a year ago now, I guess. And I spent the better part of 2 or 3 weeks road tripping the last generation E-Class all around. And so I have tons of seat time in E-Class Mercedes. And this is the 2021. This is basically the next generation facelift. Although a lot has changed, exterior styling mainly, but also driver assistance tech. And it's sort of just all upgraded with the new MBUX stuff as well. Really neat technology. Now, like I said, this video is going to be long, of course. This is not actually just going to be specific to the E-Class. This will go through a lot of Mercedes technology. And I like to go super in depth with these videos because there's so much to cover. So let's do all this. What we're going to do first is we'll turn it on. And so what the first thing I noticed is this one is the EQ Boost mild hybrid. So you don't actually hear like a traditional like a starter motor. It actually uses the little electric generator motor on the back of the engine to turn it on, which means you pretty much feel nothing and you don't even hear it unless it's doing its cold start cycle like it is right now. If you're just cruising around in traffic, sometimes you're not even sure if it's in electric or normal mode. Now, it's not a normal hybrid. It can't drive on electric power. This is just to elongate the amount of time that the engine can stay off. It also has a 48-volt electric system, so like you can turn the steering wheel when it's in, when the engine's off, and it keeps the AC and heat going, which is really nice. Some mild hybrids don't do that. Some mild hybrids, like a Jeep Wrangler JL 2-liter I was driving recently, it was like super hot outside, and they come to a traffic light and then the car gets hot. I'm like, what? Why did that happen? And it's because every time the engine shut off, it decoupled the air conditioning compressor. This has an electric AC compressor, so it keeps the cabin at a nice temperature. Little things Mercedes thinks about. What we're going to do, of course, is go through everything we want to do. The car just, you know, finished its cold start and went to idle. Honestly, I had no idea the engine's running. The only way you know, it's the most serene thing. This is the new inline 6, which is a smooth, balanced engine compared to a V6. It's idling at like 550 RPM. Really low speed idle. You barely hear anything. Wow, you just get a sense of quality when this thing... Truly, the only way you can know. There's no vibration, no feeling. It's almost as if the car was off. The only way you know is because of the tach showing it's on. That's impressive. Anyway, what we'll do is we're going to get everything set up. There's so many things to get set up, so many options, and get my seat in a comfortable position. I'm even just going to cross my legs here because there's so much to do. So we'll start with the new MBUX. This is a touch screen, so I can physically touch it, or I can control it with a little touchpad down here, which I guess is okay. And first thing we need to do is connect my phone to the car. So you'll see each menu has a main hub up top, and then 2 shortcuts to the things that you would need the quickest in MBUX. So I'm going to go over here to the device settings, for example. Oh, I guess I already did connect my phone. I don't remember doing that. Kyle's iPhone 12, connecting. Doesn't really matter. There we go. Now we're connected. And if I go up into phone, you can see recent calls, contacts. You can even read you off your text messages and all these things. So I guess I have this thing on my phone. It doesn't like to wirelessly charge. There is a nice wirelessly charging pad right down here in the center console. Then you have navigation. It's all pretty standard. You know, you can go up here and you can get your map. You can put in your destinations and things. Really nice 3D mode as well if you're interested in that type of thing. Really nice screen. I mean, nothing to complain about there. That's kind of neat. I prefer a north up 2D mode. Then of course it'll route you around traffic and do all the things. It's also got really good voice control, so we can say, hey Mercedes, navigate to Starbucks. Hey Mercedes, navigate to Starbucks. And you can kind of talk to it naturally, which is pretty neat.
Please select from the following locations.
Number 1.
Calculating route.
And that's it. I mean, super simple, really nice, slick system. And then she'll start talking, so we're going to cancel that destination. So really like that a lot. Then you get your radio. I mean, who listens to radio? You get media. So it has CarPlay. I don't believe it has wireless CarPlay. I haven't plugged my phone in yet, so does it actually have CarPlay? I'm not sure, but that doesn't really matter. Anyway, you get all the typical media stuff. You guys know, no need to go into there. Then we get the comfort settings, and oh my goodness, are there a lot of comfort settings. So let's get ready for this one. I'm just going to move the steering wheel up here. We have 3 different menus in comfort setting on this particular car. This one's spec'd out to like $80,000. It's got pretty much every comfort and driver assistance option you can get on an E-Class, but it's got like the little wheels and snow tires. It's pretty interesting. So you can get a hot massage or a normal massage. These are the 2 options. And then you can of course get different types of normal massages. I think I'm gonna go for the hot relaxing shoulder. And so what you do is you select it, and then you can choose the passenger seat or the driver's seat to get it. So I'm going to select the driver's seat. There's also this high button that I believe pushes the air bubbles out farther. That's the only thing I can think that it does. If you know for sure, comment down below, but that's really interesting. So each seat can have a different type of massage up front. That's worth every penny, and it's really, really comfortable. Mercedes does seats better than almost anyone in the business, and I gotta say, that's extremely comfortable. Now, apart from just the seat massage, you can get into different settings for the seat. So here, for example, I can choose what I want the kinetics of the seat to be. Honestly, I don't even know what this stuff is, but let's go into backrest and seat surface, including lumbar, and we're gonna hit play. Let's see what it does to the seat. It's like moving me all around. It's like another level of massage. Oh my goodness, it's like boom, boom, seats coming in on the sides. That's so crazy, isn't it? Yeah, pretty neat. Now we get into our lumbar adjustment, so we can push out the lumbar. I guess I can even choose like where I want the lumbar. Oh, it goes out pretty far. Oh my goodness. You've got to be kidding me. The whole seat's physically warping. That's crazy. Okay, that's definitely the most wild lumbar adjustment. You can see, I don't know, maybe you can't see, the seat controls are on the door in all of Mercedes, so you get nothing on the seat. So I haven't had a chance to actually experience a new Mercedes with all the good seat options. I've driven baser ones, and so it's so neat that you can like move the lumbar all the way around. Okay, that's interesting. Then we get side bolsters, and you can have it go like full racy mode. Really squeezes you. It's amazing how fast this seat moves too. When you go all the way up, it's and then you get dynamic seat, and this I believe is currently on because I went around the block in it before. And you get level 1 or level 2. I'm going to try level 2. What this does, super interesting, and Mercedes has been doing this for a long time. When you go around a corner quite quickly, it bolsters up the side of your seat. Now, this is not new technology. I think I remember my dad's old E60 M5 doing this. My grandma's E-Class does this, but it's kind of nice when you're going right-hand corner, it bolsters up the left side of the seat so you don't flop over as much. Just so much seat technology here. And then if you're going on a twisty road, I think it just pushes the bolsters in for you. So I'll leave the side bolsters totally open for everyday comfort, but as soon as I drive it aggressively, they'll come in. Then we get seat heating balance, and I can choose more of a back or butt seat heating, and I definitely prefer a little bit more on the back than the butt. So I'll go up 1 notch. Then of course you can do the same for the passenger seat and reset that. So we've just spent like 8 minutes adjusting the driver's seat without even moving the position. I can move the headrest up or down as well, which is super nifty. And then on top of that, you can see the headrest has these like airline squeezing things, so it stops your head from moving around. So you get like this pillow. You can also move the headrest in and out. This is like a lounge. I never want to get out of this car. And then you can choose ambient lighting. So let's choose our color, for example. Man, there's so much. You can have it do multicolor animation, so it'll, like, I guess, move around. There's red moon at night is absolutely gorgeous. I'll try and take a video and insert it in here. We came out last night, and it's like disco lighting all around. It's beautiful ambient lighting in here. And then you get the brightness, of course, and I believe we have all 3 turned up to max, which is how I like it. All right, so that is comfort settings. Then we get our information about the car, tons of menus and options. You can see here on the instrument cluster, maybe you actually can. I'll show you later on. We'll do the instrument cluster setup. There's no like engine temperature gauge or anything like this. This is a really neat menu right here. So you can see percent acceleration. So that's basically throttle position and then brake pedal position. And you can go all the way, you know, up to 100% on either. And then you also get your steering wheel angle, which is kind of neat, but then even cooler than that, you get a suspension graphic layout. So everyone freaked out when Tesla with the Model S and X with the new dampers showed like that suspension graph. It's right here in the E-Class. So when you hit bumps, I don't know if it'll do it. Yeah, no, we got to be driving. When you hit bumps, you'll get a little graph of what each damper is doing. I think that is so neat. Then you get all your engine data, not unique to the E-Class here, but you can see your oil temperature, your coolant, you can see your battery voltage, your charge air pressure in the turbo. Yeah, can't build any boost while we're just sitting here, but then horsepower and torque. You get all your consumption data. Looks like this one's been driven quite hard, or at least around town. Then we get our operator's manual, which you can go into, and you get your full vehicle manual in here. So that's all of the info section on the car. Really just insane stuff. Then you get Mercedes Me and apps, and Mercedes Me is like their connected services. It works okay. I've used it in the past. I don't have the app for this car set up. I probably won't do that. But it's nice that you can like browse the web or like look at different things. And now we get what we came here to do. After 12 minutes, this is, like I said, going to be a crazy long video. We're going to go into the settings. And so I guess they put your quick access, like the things that matter most, right up front, which is really awesome. So you get your traction control on or off, which is nice. So I love this little graphic they just showed when it was on. Look at that, you get the straight lines, and then when you turn it off, it goes squiggly. That's pretty funny, actually. So we'll put the system back on. We're not going to be sliding around in this video. And then you get your parking sensors on and off. You have your stop and go, so the car will follow the vehicle in front of it in traffic. We'll also do active steering, which is pretty neat. So if you hit a lane, it'll push you back in, or if you're on an adaptive cruise, it pretty much just steers itself as long as you're touching the steering wheel. And then you have, what is this, tow away protection on? How does that work? That's kind of neat. Tow away protection off. So I guess it shoots the alarm. Yeah, the alarm goes off if it starts to get towed away. Why is that in quick access? I have no idea. And then interior motion sensor is primed. And I guess you would turn this off if you want to lock the car but leave your dog inside with the windows cracked or something. This is the only thing I can think. What does this 360-degree option do? Oh, it lets you choose your options and settings in a different way. That's kind of neat. We won't do that though. Now we go up to assistance. This is all the stuff that I like. What can the car do to make your driving more comfortable and more safe? These are where we go. So warn early all around. I don't know what that is. Warning tone. Okay, volume. Let's just go down to like, yeah, that's loud enough. Warning tone. Oh, we can change the pitch. The lower pitches for the rear coming out of the rear speakers. I feel like I'm in a hospital. Beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. Audio fade for warning tones. Maneuvering assistance. We need it. Open camera cover. Okay. Oh, that's the cameras on the, there's a little flap that I guess it comes out of so the camera never gets dirty. How neat is that? Okay, so that's pretty cool. Traffic sign assist. Visual, yeah, we don't want to be yelled at. Warning threshold, let's go up to 5 miles per hour. Limit adoption. Okay, I don't really know what that is. Active lane keeping assist, on. I like to see what the car does when you hit the line without it in active driving. Basically, I like to see what the car does to push you back in. I might turn that off. Active brake assist early. Definitely want all the help there. Attention assist, sensitive. I think it's always interesting when it can suggest a rest stop for you. Traffic light view. This is wild. We have to talk about this. In Europe, when you approach a intersection, typically the traffic lights are on the side of traffic that you are on, so your side of the intersection, so you really got to look straight up at the light or over at the light on the side. Here in the US, it's very common that we put our traffic lights on the other side of an intersection so we can see them no problem. Now, this car has a really neat feature. When you pull up to a intersection, there's a camera mounted up here on the roof somewhere. It must be in this module that basically shows what the car is looking at in terms of the intersection, so you can see the traffic lights. I think that is so neat, such an interesting feature. We're going to keep it on automatic. I like it when it pops up. I think that's kind of cool. And then we get active lane change assist. Oh, it'll change lanes on driver assistance. That's so cool. Traffic light information. No service subscription. Oh, you got to subscribe to see when the lights turn green? Of course. And then route-based speed. That's kind of cool too. Wow, tons of options here. Now we get into our vehicle settings. So let's double check. Dynamic select. Oh, I'm going to create my own individual drive settings here. So we have for the engine, Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and then manual shifting. This is a comfortable car. As much as I'm a performance driving enthusiast and I like to go up a back road, comfort is how I like this car. Suspension, in comfort. It might just be the same as comfort. Steering, comfort. ESP, comfort. Actually, I'm going to put ESP in Sport Plus, and that way I can still kind of slide it around without it getting in my way. So now individual is extremely comfortable, but if I want to do a little slide, it lets me have some fun. That's kind of interesting. Request at start. No, probably not. Doesn't need to be. Automatic seat adjustment. So this is another thing Mercedes have. I remember this. You can tell it how tall you are, and then it will try to figure out the right seating position for you. And while that's kind of interesting, I don't necessarily like it. So I'm going to put the easy entry exit on. I like that in a car. Belt adjustment's kind of nice whenever you get in a new Mercedes product, or like Volkswagen Group does this as well. When you belt it in, it just tightens up, takes all the slack out. And then acoustic lock, acoustic door lock. What's the difference? Acoustic lock, acoustic door lock. You would think it would be the same thing. Automatic folding of the mirrors. The graphics are really nice on this system. And trunk lid restriction would be opening it up to a lesser distance. Gas station shirt. Holy crap, there's so much to go through here, guys. Really impressive stuff here. Ambient lighting, we've already gone into that menu. Exterior lighting delay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll do 30 seconds. That works fine. Interior lighting delay. No. Daytime running lights. Yes. Locator lighting. Yes. So that's nice. And then we get our system settings. Oh, we got a lot of stuff here. Designs. So this is for the instrument cluster in front of me, I imagine. And I'm going to do, yeah, classic. I much prefer the classic gauges in modern Mercedes. We'll talk more about this maybe in another video, but like most of the gauges in here are totally ugly unless you choose the classic one. Display brightness is very good from the factory. Day, night, automatic. Okay, so that's designs. Controls. Keyboards and handwriting. Select keyboards. English, yeah, we're in that one. Readout handwriting, I don't know. Touchpad sensitivity. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Touch control sensitivity. I don't know. It all feels pretty nice, honestly. Touchpad tap on. Oh, that way I don't have to push in. That's so nice. Haptic feedback. Sure, that works. Acoustic operating feedback off. Nice. Now it won't stop. Yeah, now it just makes the haptic noise and it doesn't actually make the little extra clicky stuff from the speakers. That's much better. Linguatronic. Oh, I'm turning off the Hey Mercedes thing. That is the worst feature ever when you're reviewing a car. If you own it, you're never going to be talking about your Mercedes. But, you know, I showed you earlier, you say, hey, Mercedes. But if I'm doing like a review and we're talking about Mercedes, it happens every time I get in one or a BMW. Yeah, just crazy. And then it's all all this stuff. Interior assistant on. Okay, including search and reading light. That's interesting. Don't even know what that would be. Audio, entertainment. Man, it's got the Burmester system in here. So we've already got the sound profiles on pure. I don't really like a forced surround system. Really good sound system. I got it set up last night. I think it's awesome. Yeah, and then you get all these other things. We don't really need to get into all that. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, just like every car, you can hook it up. Time and date, language, units. Wow, just so much. And I guess you can lock it with a pin. So that's all the settings. Holy, were there a lot. But trust me, there's more. All I have to do is go down one time, and then we get themes. And all of these themes are like kind of what you can do to change the driving mode, how you're going to be using the car. So they have a theme for a road trip. So it puts the car in comfort mode. It puts all of the driver assistance stuff on the screen. So it's kind of like this is your ultimate road trip theme. And then you can choose a experience, and it's a picture of an AMG GT drifting around the track right there. And all of the gauges go to your engine and power, and everything is green and blue and really ugly. And man, do I not like that at all. And then you get your efficiency theme, which is like in green mode, and everything's modern on the dash. And it shows me I'm getting 10 miles per gallon because I've been sitting here idling. And then you get the lounge if you want to have a cool night. It's truly insane how many different themes there are, but I think we should create our own theme because this is kind of getting annoying. Now I'm going to create a theme, which is driving characteristics, comfort. It's kind of neat how many you can save. Gauges in classic. And I'm going to put the gauges just on sort of what I like. We're using 0.2 gallons an hour to idle here, which is kind of neat. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to hit continue. New theme. Navigation, route, and map settings. I don't even understand. I guess we'll just leave all this on. I don't even know what this would do. New theme. Select. Oh, this is what my initial screen should be. Like, where do I want it to normally sit? Front camera display off. Oh, this is so cool. I love that you can customize all this, but no one's ever going to sit through and do all this. I guess I'll just put it on navigation, and then I choose the image that I like. The old original Mercedes, or I guess it would be the Benz. Wow. Get like off-road G-Class stuff. This is so interesting that you can choose all these things for a theme. Ooh, I like that building right there. Oh, and look, here's a little plug if you're efficient. I like plug-in cars, so I'm going to name this theme. Let's just delete it all. Kyle. Okay, it's the Kyle theme now. So this is how I like the car. It's, I think, the same as Mercedes Comfort. And then you can choose what you want to be in your favorites. And it also has gesture control like we've seen from Mercedes. So can it do volume up and volume down? I'm not really sure, but I don't really like the gesture stuff personally. I'd rather just find a hard button. Okay, so that's all that for the screen. Then we get a whole bunch of air conditioning controls down here. Pretty straightforward. I could hit menu and set it all up. That all makes sense. I get some hotkeys down here for a car. I can change the quick settings, and then I can program this star button to go to my favorites menu, and then I can just adjust what I want to have in my favorites. Okay, makes sense. Then I get my drive modes down here. I've already set up individual how I like it, so we'll drive there. I can raise the air suspension if I need to. And there goes the car raising up. I can pull up all of the camera settings. So this is look for parking, tons of different camera views all around the car, 360 degrees, of course. I have auto start stop on and off. No reason to ever turn that off in this car. Because of the mild hybrid, you never hear the starter motor kick on. I'm almost out of breath, and we're into this for 30 minutes just setting up the settings. But let's go through the main screen over here and see what we need to set up in terms of our instrument cluster. Okay, let's get our instrument cluster set up. So right now I have it on the classic gauges, and then the whole left side of the steering wheel, which you actually can't see, but I can put it here. The whole left side of the steering wheel controls this main screen. So I have back, a touch control that I can move around here in the middle, a home button, and then all my driver assistance function. We'll talk about that when we're on the road. On the right side of the wheel, we have all of these control the main screen on the right. So you don't actually even need to reach down and touch the touchpad. You can control that screen from this side. I think that's nice. You can also slide up and down on your volume on the wheel. All of this makes sense and actually works pretty well once you get used to it. So now let's get this screen set up. So I'm gonna click home, and we'll start on the left to see what we can get. So we get an assistance driving view. The first one will show us the distance to the car in front and the lanes. This will tell me my attention level. And then I can full screen display the assistance, which is really neat. Looks like we're on a runway. I love this gauge design. I think that's so cool. Another thing to note about the gauge design, in the bottom right, we always get our EQ charger boost for the mild hybrid system. So is it helping the car move forward by boosting up the engine a little bit more, or by charging up the high voltage battery? It's actually not that high voltage. It might be a 48 volt battery, but higher than your normal 12 volt. Then we have fuel level on the left and a few other things around. So now let's go back to, we've gone through assistance. We'll go to phone, makes sense, navigation. Probably are able to put a map here in the middle as well. Yeah, right there. And then we can full screen that. Hold on, I don't want to go somewhere. Nope. Back, down, display. Oh, I guess you can only route to things. You can't actually full screen the map in this classic setting, at least it looks like. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I don't like that anyway. Radio, media, designs, and display. We already went through this on the main screen, but you can choose what kind of gauges you'd like. These are the ugliest ones, by the way. The progressive ones, I don't know what they were thinking, but that literally makes no sense at all. That is just really ugly. So hold on, how do I go back to change all this? Designs, and then back to classic. Okay, now we're good. Home. Over to the right, radio, design, service, and that's kind of everything. So it says, okay, we don't need any service. We have assist plus. I don't know what that is. Yeah, okay, so this will tell you like when you need service. I love all the names they give everything. Coolant temperature is good. Engine oil level is max. Perfect. Just what we want. And now the last thing we're going to do, I think I'm going to leave the center bit on assistance because I like to see what the car is seeing in front of it. I think that's kind of neat. Then I get these two sides, so I can scroll to the left here and I can choose what I want to show on the left side. So I can choose our route schedule in terms of navigation, how far we have to go, trip data from reset, from start, a clock, and then my miles per hour odometer, or not odometer, but my speedometer. On the right side, I like to have a tach. You know, I'm traditional. I like to see what the engine's doing. Really nice little gauge display that follows along. I can also choose to have consumption, eco display, a navigation map, G meter. That's unuseful. And then I can go double on the driver assistance. So I think I'm just going to keep that on tach because I'm a traditional kind of guy when it comes to a car. And I'm going to put back on the seat massage over here in the comfort setting. I will go up to a massage. Let's do a hot, relaxing back this time. Hit play. And now I think it's time to go for a drive. That was 30 minutes of settings. I barely even covered everything. Heated and cooled seats, of course. But you got the main stuff in there. Just so much to go through on the new Mercedes. Pretty incredible. Let's take it for a drive. All right, let's go for a drive. Start button. Amazing how instantly this engine starts. Super neat, actually. Again, I'm going to go for a massage. Let's see. I think I'll go for an active workout backrest. We got to try this one. Into reverse. Here we go. Make sure I don't run any of my neighbors over. And we're going. So instantly, it's pretty neat how this car drives because it's so unbelievably smooth. You know, with the straight six, I was talking about the idle, how you can barely feel it. Well, that's pretty well represented here under normal driving scenarios as well. It's kind of interesting because BMW's been using straight sixes forever, right? And so they're dimensionally pretty hard to package because they're long, and a V6 is half the length but wider, and cars of course are you know, wide enough to handle a V-shaped engine. So that's really why inline sixes never really get made. Also, it's more expensive to form a crankshaft that's twice as long than two small 3-cylinder crankshafts on each side of the V. Or I should say, you know, either on either side as well. It's half the length. So interesting that Mercedes went with an inline six. I'm really happy they did because I love the sound. They have this kind of grunty sound that you get. Look, I'm going to put it in second gear. Just listen. Just that mid-range grunty noise is really neat. Something that you don't get from a V6. V6s can sound quite generic, and Mercedes have never sounded that great, I would argue. They're V6, but this inline six sounds like a BMW. And the first thing that I've noticed here is it shut off on the way to the traffic light. Now, I mentioned you can't do any electric driving with this mild hybrid system, but it does shut off on the way to a stop. And I actually think it uses the radar unit as well to confirm that there's a car in front of you that's stopped. And if that car is stopped, it shuts off even earlier because then the car knows you don't have to just accelerate instantly. So I think that's really neat how it'll just shut off when driving. Also, mild hybrid, like I mentioned, it lets you turn the wheel without putting the engine on in start-stop. So many cars can't do that. Really, really a neat system here. So right now I'm in comfort mode. I'm going to lower the suspension down, and I'm just loving this massage, getting cruising around. I love the gear shifter in Mercedes here on the side. I think it's the correct place. I guess the engine turned on. I literally didn't hear it or feel it turn on. I just heard the revs go when I put my foot down. So freaking smooth here. And off we go. Kind of hard, weird intersection. We're going to head over to the canyons because what I'd like to do is see how this car performs when I drive it spiritedly. Now, Mercedes have always been the luxury brand. Audi's been sort of a mix of sport and luxury. This is just very general speaking, of course. And then BMW has always been the driver's choice. Now, I've heard from friends who have driven this E-Class that that is no longer the case, that this is actually a stellar performance vehicle. Keep in mind, this car's main competitor, the 540i, just got refreshed for 2021 as well. We have that car coming up in a couple weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. But my guess is this is better, just off the bat. For what you would be using this class of vehicle for, you know, driving around town, commuting to work, cruising up and down the highway on the assistance systems, you know, this just seems to be a much more technically advanced vehicle and certainly much smoother. And BMWs have kind of lost their way for me, and I hate to say that because I'm such a BMW enthusiast, but I feel like Mercedes is sticking so true to form with comfort and luxury and premium feeling, where BMWs have lost the thing they've been known for. So we're cruising around town. We know it's uber comfortable. It shuts off at a stop, keeps the AC running. We're all good here. Well, we are at the base of the canyons, and it's sort of peak traffic time. Normally I like to do these early in the morning when I come up here to rip around. But I think we're just going to keep it chilled today. We'll learn a little bit about the E-Class. We'll have a little bit of traffic down here at the bottom. Everything's up to operating temperature. I have kind of the gauges I think I want to see. Let's talk about what this car has for sporting potential. Well, we have a turbocharged inline 6-cylinder with the mild hybrid boost. I noticed driving around town that it actually uses this EQ boost, this gauge, at really low RPM, either to supplement when the turbocharger is not spooling up, so it eliminates lag at light throttle, basically. I don't think the EQ can actually provide that much power, but I noticed it like when I was going up a hill and I'd put my foot down, you get a lot of EQ boost and then it would back off. And I think it was backing off because the turbochargers were spooling, and I never noticed any interruption of power. It was so nicely calibrated. So I actually love that mild hybrid system. I think typically I'm not a fan of hybrids or plug-in hybrids. I think they actually detract from a combustion vehicle experience, but I think this works pretty well because it eliminates some of the downfalls, mostly to do with lag and an increased start-stop time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the car in Sport Plus as well. That puts the engine, the suspension, the steering, and the ESP all to maximum attack mode. It also has turned off auto start stop here. So we're gonna let a little bit of brake in traffic go, and then we'll be off for a little bit of a rip. So just tons of traffic, but I think we'll cruise along first slowly, see what this car is like under sort of normal driving, and then maybe we'll find a little gap. Starting off in first gear here in Sport Plus rather than in second gear, how it normally does in Comfort. And wow, a lot of mid-range torque. Keep in mind, we're at over 5,000 feet of elevation here. So we are way the heck up there. And I'm just coming in through here pretty hard. So first off, the chassis is the right size. We are on Pirelli Soto Zero winter tires. And now we're stuck instantly behind this Suburban. But I do have some thoughts already. First off, I love the size of this car. It's so perfect, I think. The C-Class is a little small, S-Class is a little big. The E is the way to go. It's pretty underappreciated, actually. You never see E-Classes on the road, especially here in Colorado, very rarely. You see E-Wagons. I'd probably go for a wagon. I think that's kind of neat. But I just love the size of this car. I also love the touch points, the steering wheel, really nice. Also, the weighting of the steering is really good. And the suspension is extremely comfortable. But now that I'm here in Sport Plus, even just going through those couple corners very quickly, it's the first time I've driven the car hard. You can notice it wasn't too hard. Not too swirly, so I don't know where my hazards are to like thank this guy. They're over here. Thank you. So always thank your fellow citizens for letting you blow past. Manual mode, foot down. First off, big power. This is again the 450. They do have the 53. Oh, man, does this thing freaking move. The 53 is essentially this motor with an electric supercharger on it. Oh, wow. I am so impressed with the sporting capability. It drives better than the most recent BMW I just have. Look at that turn-in, and look at the torque. So the 53 is like the AMG sporty tuned one. Honestly, I don't know what more you would need than this. What a ripper. And it sounds amazing. Really nice control through here. The power all the way up to red line. Doesn't hold the gears at the red line. Wish it did. It's at the 9-speed Geartronic transmission. It is not as crisp as like a ZF 8-speed. The level of acceleration here for what this car is truly impressive. Look at the power coming out of these corners. Man, she rips. Holy. Okay, now we can talk about brake pedal calibration. Perfection right here. This is exactly what you want from a car. Really nice bite as soon as you get onto the brake pedal. Firm pedal as well. Sheds the speed quickly. Now, Mercedes in the past have gotten brakes pretty hot, but I think this one in particular will be a heavy car and probably is under braked at the limit. Most Mercedes I've driven have been, but again, we haven't noticed that obviously yet. We're just getting going here. We probably won't even notice it with this much traffic around. But is the car stiff? No, it's really smooth. It rolls a bit, but it almost drives as if it has rear steer. Now, I don't believe this car does have rear steer, but the turn-in is crisp and the back really comes around nicely. The steering calibration is great. Typically, I've not been a fan of Mercedes steering in the past. And I would say a lot of it has to do with the steering wheels they've used. they've always been a little bit over padded, and I felt you'd lose a little bit of the road. On center is still not that sharp on this car, and a lot of that comes down to the snow tires they've used as their selection. And but once you get this thing set in a corner like this and power out of it, wow, it's really dynamic. It's got two different personalities, because as comfortable and serene as it is on the road, I mean, it is smoother than some older S-classes, for example. It's really dynamic and engaging up here. And I really hate to say this, but I just had a C8 Corvette a couple weeks ago, and this is more fun. It's my kind of car, you know. I much prefer a front engine car. I like this kind of sedan style. It's cushy. I like to feel the car move around. With the C8, you had to drive so fast to reach the limits of the car on a road like this. Here, you're able to really have some fun at normal speeds, and also it's very capable for this type of driving. So definitely a good car to come up and have some fun, and it is wildly torquey coming out of these corners. On the brakes, it is a snow tires, a little soft. You can feel it move around a little bit on the snow tires. That's to be expected. And the paddles aren't extremely crisp. You know, this is the one thing I think lets this car down, is this transmission is extremely supple and smooth around town. You know, starting in second gear, you don't feel it shift at all. Really nice. Up here, it lacks a little bit of the crispness. On the downshifts, it takes a second for it to come down, especially off-throttle downshifts. Oh, really neat Hummer H1 right over here. That thing's pretty sweet, and love that. And the upshifts are not that crisp either. So I think that's maybe the downfall of this car, but it's certainly made up for with grunt. Look, 3,500 RPM foot down. It just loves to pull. It loves that mid-range. That mid-range is where this car shines. Now, when you wind it all the way out, it kind of sounds like a BMW because it's a straight six. Look at this. Right out. Now, I wish it revved a little bit higher. It looks like it revs to about 6,300. Really sounds like it needs to go all the way up to like 6,800 or so. BMW straight sixes rev a little bit higher. This is the 450, not the 53, and definitely not the 63 with the V8. So is it a bad thing that it's not as enthusiasty? No, because you can buy the sportier one. So I'd be really curious to try the 53, because I think that would sharpen up some of these things that I'm looking for. But in terms of suspension calibration, steering, and noise, wow, is this just like super nice. So far, I haven't been able to get this car in a situation that it hasn't completely excelled at. Everything for this car is effortless. Oh, and that shift was nice too. It did the little turbo fart thing when it messes with the timing so you keep your boost. I really like that. Holy smokes, I'm just blown away here, folks. I am truly astonished by how nice this car is. The seats, you know, hold you in every time you go around a corner, foot down. Yeah, it rips the shifts at wide open. All right, so maybe the transmission's not that bad at wide open throttle, but partial throttle upshift, it seems a little bit flummoxed by. What a nice car, what a nice road. Let's just go for a little drive. I think you guys get the feeling it's not a race car, but it's certainly capable, very agile, and doesn't feel overstressed. Like, I'm not asking the car to do anything it doesn't feel like it wants to do going through here. That fourth gear mid-range, that's where it's at in this car. Man, what a freaking shredder. All right, I'm just gonna shut up and drive. Join me. Also, when you put it all the way up into 9th, just for example, watch, it drops the revs down to like 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, something like this. And then I can hold the left paddle, and it just keeps downshifting to the lowest gear. You don't need to keep pulling it. You can just hold the left paddle. I love the pitch and dive under acceleration. It's definitely soft, but it's not undynamic. A lot of people think you need to make a car really stiff to handle well, and it's absolutely not the case. I much prefer a softer car that moves around and I can, you know, work the suspension and feel where the weight is going. Definitely no sense of top heaviness here at all. Weight feels nice and low, extremely well balanced. The turn-in is the most amazing part because, again, this car is on snow tires, which really takes away from a lot. You get this thing into a corner and it just gets in and goes. It's pretty impressive. Those bumps were a little bit rougher than I was expecting, but again, we are in Sport Plus. Best section of the road through here. Doesn't seem to want to downshift too well. Look, I'm pulling the left paddle. I'm saying, hey, downshift, downshift. And I wish it was a little bit more eager. Yeah, the transmission's kind of just letting it down because once it's in gear and once you're able to use that mid-range 3,000 to 5,000 RPM torque band on this thing, man, this should rip. And it's not like it's crazy fast. It doesn't need to be fast, but it's enough to have fun. And it feels really well calibrated. And the noise especially is great. Yeah, really nice noise. Here we go, coming up to a really nice hill climb section of the drive. Gonna hold that paddle to that down to the left. There, it'll just downshift when it's able to. Really dusty up here. We're gonna be careful on the dust on the corner entry. Don't want to stuff Mercedes car and get hard on the power here. Hello, friend. Really cute deer. Into first, wide open. So you can see it took a second for the turbo to boost, but the EQ was on full power, so it was trying to compensate for that, which is kind of neat. See, like there, I just wanted it to hold at the red line, didn't want it to upshift. So it's a little bit of unnecessary shifting here or there, which is kind of a bummer. And there's not much steering feel, as they say, but I think the steering is super calibrated. I actually prefer the steering to many cars that I've been in. And that's sort of the end of the fun section right there. Look at that view that we were greeted with of the Rocky Mountains. What an amazing car here in the canyons. I know this is going to be like an hour-long video, but it deserves it. This car does deserve it. In terms of temperatures, oil temperature's gotten up there, 230 degrees or so. It's almost in the red. That's surprising. I did not expect to see that climb up so high. Coolant's nice and low. So it just could be, I mean, we were driving it hard, but not that hard. Nice Volvo right there just went by. So anyway, using the engine braking on the way down the hill. Love the smoothness of this motor. Suspension's really nice. Even this tire, this winter tire is really great. This Pirelli Soto Zero. A lot of winter tires fall on its face in cornering. This is actually, look, pretty sharp. You get it into a corner and instantly it gets turned in. Impressive.